Well, as a crafter, there's something even more important than the needles that you use, the hook size that you're working with, and something more important than your yarn, and that's your hands. Because if your hands give out, you're not going to be able to do much of anything. Now, taking care of your hands is something that you should do whether you're in pain or not, but let's just be honest, we take them for granted, and we don't really think about taking care of our hands until they're hurting. That's okay. But here are some exercises and um, things that you can do to keep your hands in good shape, whether they're hurting or not. So, what I'm mostly going to talk about is um, pressure points. Sometimes they're called reflex points or trigger points in your hands that will relieve a lot of pain that you may be feeling. But before we do that, you do need to, it's kind of like do your warm-up exercises. You need to do some gentle exercises to get circulation into your hands. And there's lots of them out there, and here's one that I like to use. Turn them palm up, and then we need to just curl our fingers over, but we need to touch three places. Bend them so that you're touching the bottom of your palm as far as you can, and hold. Release. Now touch the middle. Release, and now touch the very top, as far up here as you can get. And do that a few times just to get things moving. I think you'll find that this position and this position will cause a little bit of strain, particularly if you're having a day where your hands are hurting some. And this is usually an easy position. Okay. Once you feel like your hands are and your fingers and everything is moving, now we bend the thumbs to the base of the pinky, to the base of the ring, the middle, and the index. And again, I can tell after I've done this little exercise a few times, things are starting to loosen up and all those little joints are getting oiled and lubricated. Okay, so here are some pressure points that you may find relieve pressure and pain. And the way pressure points work are when you find the right spot, you know it. You can be pressing along on your hands and it just feels like pressure, or maybe a little too much pressure or not enough pressure. But when you find the right spot, you will go from an ow to an ah in about 3 seconds. If you keep putting pressure on that point, after a certain length of time, you should feel things relax, things that you didn't even know were tense. So start with the tips of each finger and just press and hold. And when you find one that's accumulated some stress and tension, trust me, you'll know it. Ah, like right there. So I'm going to hold on to that one for a while until I feel things usually in the rest of my hands start to give a little and relax. Okay. And keep going to the base of the thumb. Sorry, the tip of the thumb. We'll get to the base later. And then the other hand. Well, there's one for me. Okay. And I don't expect you to have pressure in the same points as my hands, obviously, and that's why I think you should do them all. Okay. And then I usually go back and do a few of these. And now there is 2 pressure points in your thumb area, and they're very close together. I think of one is like in the valley between the index and thumb, somewhere in here. And somewhere in here at the base of your thumb, there might be another. So holding my hand like this, palm down, I usually start shifting around. I found it right away. Shifting around until I find it. Okay, so that's the valley of the hand point. And for me, I don't know if you can see, but it's right about there on both sides. Do the left hand. Oh, my left hand feels pretty good. Okay. Now, that might be all you need, but there is a separate one. It's usually down here on the base of the thumb. See? Okay. Yeah, I always have that reaction when I find the right place. So now I've got one more that I want you to look for, and it's actually at the base of the palm or top of the wrist right in here. Now, I want you to, if you think of this as the center line, go off to the side, to the pinky side, and press really gently now. Press gently. There's a lot of tendons and bones right in here. And I usually have one right, right in there. Okay. And off to the pinky side on the left. My left hand doesn't get as much strain as my right, but I usually do have both. This one pressure point, there, in both hands. I'll have to tell you, for truth is, I'm rushing this. If I was doing it for real, I would be sitting here just pressing away on these pressure points for longer than I am in this video. Press on them until everything's relaxed and you don't feel the pain anymore. And then once you've done a full cycle, for me, that's what I do. The tips of each fingers, valley, base, and wrist on both hands. Then actually, I go through and check and do another cycle. Because if you have felt pressure points somewhere in your hand and release that pressure, it didn't exactly disappear. That pressure has usually shifted and moved to another pressure point. So you'll get the most relief. See? There's a little bit right there in that thumb. If you go through and make a second pass. And then in the valley, base, and wrist. There, I hope you find that helpful. I know it's a set of exercises that I do on a regular basis because my hands are, are what keep me going in the crafting life. And I have to treat them right. So I really hope that this brings you some pain relief and some relaxation. Enjoy.